Some of the biggest clusterfucks in history didn't start with bad intentions. They started with bad communication. When the Berlin Wall fell in 1989, it wasn't because of a well-planned political strategy. It was a misunderstanding. A German government spokesperson, Günther Schabowski, announced during a press conference that new travel regulations would allow East Germans to travel across into the West. And a journalist asked, when does this take effect? Schabowski, who wasn't really comfortable with the Western-style press conferences, flipped through his papers, clearly confused, and answered, "Das tritt nach meiner Kenntnis ist das sofort unverzüglich." And basically translated, that would mean, as far as I know, effective immediate, without delay. The truth? The borders weren't supposed to be open yet, but the public heard what they heard, that they could move freely, and of course they did. And within hours, thousands flooded the checkpoints. One phrase, no clarity, historic fallout. Like, that's maybe not the kind of world we live in. But here's one closer to our world. A product team sends a prototype to a client thinking that it's ready for sign-off, and the client's response, wait, this isn't what we agreed to. And just like that, the project spins into scope debates, finger-pointing, rushed rework, not because anybody was incompetent, but because expectations were never clearly aligned. That's why my friend and mentor Magnus Berggren has a saying that I never forgotten. And I asked him this when I was pretty brand new to my career. And I asked him, what is the goal? What's the key here? And he said, if you want to be successful in consulting, in leadership, and in life, never underestimate people's ability to misinterpret you. I expected something a little bit more profound and earth-shattering, to be honest, but it's true, and it's funny because it's true. And in high-stakes projects, never underestimate people's ability to misinterpret you. It's not just inconvenient, it is dangerous. Misunderstandings almost never feel like disasters in the moment. They feel like small little things. A comment that wasn't clear, a nod that didn't mean agreement, a task that gets done based upon an assumption. And that's how clusterfuck begins. Quietly, gradually, and then all at once. And that's why one of the core principles of the Unclusterfuck toolbox, it's what I call the golden rule of expectation management. And the golden rule is deal with issues early. If something feels off, say something. If you're not sure if the customer or the stakeholder understood, check. If you feel like everyone's pretending to agree, stop the meeting and clarify. Because the longer you wait, the more expensive and emotionally charged it becomes. A 5-minute conversation today can save you 5 weeks of recovery work later. And here's the good news. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to be alert. Since we're having a little bit of a German theme now, the Germans call it Fingerspitzengefühl. The fingertip feeling. It's that subtle awareness, that gut instinct that something is just not sitting right. And the confidence to say, hey guys, let's pause and make sure that we're aligned. Also, let's close this session today with a pro tip. To keep yourself out of the danger zone, you also want to watch for what I call the 4 clusterfuck traps. The first one, technical abbreviation. Acronyms that means one thing to you and something totally different to your customer and or your team. Perhaps you say TTD to mean time to delivery. The vendor thought it meant to time to decision. They waited for your approval and you were expecting a shipment. Technobabble, smart-sounding jargon that people nod at, but to be honest, hardly ever understand. Here's a great example. We're rolling out an AI-driven, API-integrated solution built on a scalable cloud pod platform connected through REST endpoints, secured with SSO and IAM, and packaged with a customizable SDK for rapid deployment. What does that mean? If you're in technology, you will probably know this. If you're in learning development like I am, you have no idea. Number 3, differing definitions. Words like done, quality, priority, that feels clear when we say them, but mean very, very different thing to different people. Perhaps you told your team to deliver something of high quality. The engineer lead thought that meant 0 bugs. The designer thought it meant beautiful UI. The client expected white glove service, and everybody thought that they were aligned until it shipped. One single phrase, 3 different interpretations, one unhappy customer. And number 4, ambiguous instructions. Vague direction like, let's get this moving, that no one interprets the same way. Your manager says, let's get this moving fast. The project manager thought it meant starting this week. The dev team assumed it meant finish on Friday. And then the client thought it meant that they would see a proposal tomorrow. No one was wrong, but no one had the same pictures. These traps are small, but if left unchecked, they can grow into a full-blown mess. And we can't really eliminate every clusterfuck. But what we can do is stop adding to the confusion. So catch it early, lead with clarity, and above all, remember the golden rule: deal with issues early.